Hello and welcome to Sweet Spot DFS. This is a 2019 preview of the Wyndham Championship. Let's just get right into the golf course. It is being played at Sedgefield Country Club. It is a short par 70, two par 5s, and then your just typical layout. So par 5s won't really, the par 5s are gettable. Don't get me wrong. It's not going to be difficult for these pros to get there into. But with there only being two par 5s, we probably won't see that many eagles, most likely. But with it being a par 70, we should see that bonus for DraftKings of shooting sub 70. So that's 5 points. If I was creating a lineup and you guys knew this information from elsewhere, what I would do is find golfers who have a scoring average 1 or 2 under par for all 4 rounds. And even a consistent golfer who, only shoots 4 under par for a tournament, but is always 1 under for each round. Now, that wouldn't be the greatest of players unless they were just up and down with birdies and bogeys. Then maybe. But getting that additional 5 points is kind of huge. So yeah. The grass type is Bermuda. It's another Donald Ross golf course, so we go back to the Rocket Mortgage Classic, where they had POA greens there. So you're not going to have the same. It's the same design, but it's not the same everything else. It just the grass type matters. Most pros are going to tell you the grass type matters. And it's being played in North Carolina, so I think Simpson, his hometown is in North Carolina. I don't know how far from here, but it's fairly close. Yeah, so that's about it for the course information. Let's just get straight into the spreadsheet. So just like every video I do, we start out with the notes page, looking for some additional information. Don't really have anything. I'm gonna do something different this year though, or for this week. I'm gonna go through just about everything. We're gonna pull up 2018's results. We're gonna pull up course history, recent form. Part of the reason is, later on in the year, last year is when I really started getting into this. So now we're kind of coming full circle where I actually have all the information that I need to kind of review review what we had the year before. A lot of these tournaments that were leading up until this point were brand new for the strategy that I implement or that I apply. So I won't bore you with more of that. Just want to let you know that we're going to go through everything. We're going to go through course history, recent form, 2018's results. But I do want to start here with the buckets, just because that's my MO. We definitely want to do that each and every week just to see if we can find some kind of edge. Again, you guys know I like to start out with the last year bucket, or just the top 5 last year and last week buckets, and just see if we see anything that is out of the ordinary. And of course we do. Did not play for both the year before and the week before. Huge. Definitely helpful. For the last year bucket 1, I have a rule here. You got to play at least 2 last year bucket 1s. I also have a rule saying you need to play at least 2 last week bucket 1s. We do see a few 1-1s in combinations, but we'll get into that. On the spreadsheet, like I've said all the time, or every time I do these videos, we always use the top 10 buckets as our DK buckets. So what you see on the DK page, that is what we have for the bucket scores. But a lot of it's the same. We just have a bit more of a difference here for the last week bucket 1. We have 29 golfers that fit. Well, I shouldn't say 29. 29 over the last 6 years have been inside that top 10, with one outlier here with that 8. The minimum was 2, and that only happened once. Otherwise, it's 4 and above. It's worth it's worth the admission. I think you guys should play as many last week bucket ones as you can. We also have a very consistent number here with the last week bucket 3 score, and it's weird because I'm gonna tell you need to play at least one of these, and it's the bucket 3 as opposed to the bucket 2. Bucket 2 has one instance where there was 0. So, you know, I don't know. I would just last week bucket 1 and last week bucket 3 are very important buckets in my opinion. And even when we come up to the top 10, nothing here in that last year bucket for any of the scorers has a consistency of at least 1 throughout each year. We see 0s in every single one. So keep that in mind. I think you can start however you want with these. Okay, let's go into the course history. That is just the most logical to me to go to next. I've sorted it for golfers who are playing in 2019. If I didn't do that, we'd see everyone here. And then I sorted it by average. I should say I just took out golfers who aren't playing in 2019 and then sorted it by average. So that's what we have here. We have on top here, I mean, you got Jordan Spieth. He's only played this tournament once, and that was in 2013. He got a 2nd place. Zach Johnson that same year got a 5th. And Patrick Reed actually won that year and has a pair of top 20 finishes. So Pat Reed kind of has the best, overall average for playing at least 3 tournaments or more. Webb Simpson, this is his golf course, essentially. He loves this place. He plays well here all the time. If you take that 72 out, I mean, if we take the 72 out, I'm just going to do it. That's a 5.4 average. You know, that is his outlier. And say if you wanted to take both outliers out, the 2 is not really an outlier. 6.25. Pretty darn good. I don't know what happened here with that 72. I don't know I can't remember if 2016 was the year where he just struggled immensely. Like his putting was awful. But minus that, he has good showings. And I mean, I'm going to play a lot of them. I think he's relatively safe. And when we go into the last year DK pages, you're going to see that having someone with a high salary is pretty decent. Or I should say we find that in the recent form as well. I really didn't make note of anyone else. Obviously, you guys, when I scroll through this, take note. Find the golfers that you like. You know, Brant Snedeker, if we do the same thing with what we did with Webb, we can take the 85 away and then take the 1 away. That's a 17 for his average. It's not bad. Well, that's pretty good for his salary. Bill Haas is up here. He also has pretty decent finishing positions other than a 75th in 2017. Again, who knows? Maybe that was just a year where he struggled with part of his game. But for the most part, he has a good showing here. And really, I'm just naming guys that have 3 or more events played here at Sedgefield. Just and they're worthy mentions, honestly. Ryan Armour, he's a player that I've heard some of the industry talk about. He's not bad, and I will play him because this is a course that suits his game. He's not a very long hitter, and his Bermuda stats, I believe, are pretty decent. So, and we'll get into that with the DK page. Other than that, I don't think I'm really going to go through a lot of these. We're now kind of getting into the average range. I do actually want to do one thing. I'm going to tell it now, and then if I remember when we go through the DK page, or at least the recent form pages, to come back and show you guys once again. But I'm going to sort it by one event, because one thing I want you guys to know is golfers who have missed the cut here and have only played it once, primarily golfers that in 2018, or the year before I should say, missed the cut, had pretty decent showings the week after. So really right here we got Tyler Duncan, Taylor Gooch, Brandon Harkins, Satoshi Kodaira, Doc Redman, Adam Schenk, and Peter Uihlein. So for those just listening, keep those 7 golfers in mind. it might be worth playing one of them. But what I want to do is come here, and then we can sort by 2017 just to show, you know, 85th and on. I guess really Kevin Tway was the only one, and he honestly was the only one that I thought about. I might actually be proving myself wrong. Oh, you know what? This is all of 2019. I'm sorry. Oh wait, still Kevin Tway is really the only one. Here we go. Cam Smith, Harold Varner. At least those two are in the top 10. The other guys here, that's a pretty big number inside the top 20. And realistic, or now that I think about it, I may have just looked at those. But again, okay, never mind. We have Hideki here in 2016, Johnson Wagner, Billy Horschel. They're all top 5s that missed the cut the week before. Or not the week before, the year before. Doesn't fall under that whole did not play, though. So I bring that up only to prove myself wrong. So I think I just saw something like this. I when I went through the recent form tabs and just saw that there was an average of like 85, but of course when there are only finishes like, you know, the year before, because I don't go past 2013, that's going to show up. So actually, how about you table that? I'm sorry for bringing it up, and I'm sorry for wasting your time with that. So at least I saw it too. I'm not going to do it. But I guess it also proves, don't be afraid to play someone who has a course history average of 85. I don't think it's really worth it to just cast out those golfers. Okay. So that was course history. Let's look into the recent forms tabs here. And so we have, this is the 2018 recent form. This is what I wanted to show you. Salary here. These guys are kind of the top price golfers. And if I were to sort here and actually pull up the top price golfers, like that's pretty decent. Those are all your top price guys. And obviously I can go down to Shane Lowry. I mean, the field is pretty weak to begin with, typically at this tournament. But still, having these many golfers at that high of a salary finish inside the top 20 should tell you all that you need to know. Like, you want to play these golfers that are high salary. I don't know if it's gonna. I don't think it's a balanced week this week. I think you kind of want to go stars and scrubs, or at least, you know, two, you know, over 10K plus maybe 7K golfers. I'm pretty sure that's probably the way to go. And of course we're looking at recent form here. It's all pretty solid, somewhere in the 30s. You know, the last week bucket covers what was before. And now that I see it, it also reminds me, all but 2016, and obviously this year, Wyndham Championship has followed the PGA. And this year it's going to be following the WGC St. Jude. And in 2016, it was following the John Deere Classic. So that's something worth noting, because most of the history that we have with the last week buckets come from the PGA being the week before, which you see a lot of results. We're not going to see a lot with the WGC because there's not a lot of golfers from the WGC coming over here. But I also did add the Barracuda Championship, and what you're going to see is there's typically a top 20 and a miscut in most of these years at the Barracuda going into the Wyndham. If that's relevant or not, I don't know. I'm actually gonna choose it because a lot of golfers from the Barracuda come over here and play. I mean, just look at this column. There's so many that we're gonna be bound to have at least one or two golfers that played at the Barracuda who will finish inside the top 10, if not the top inside the top 5, if not the top 10. Here's 2017. Once again, look at the salary up top here. This time we kind of have a little bit of different results, but for the most part, you do see a bunch of top 20 finishes here. Bunch. Really, you have 4 top 24 finishes. But again, they're the high price guys. You know, Henrik was the most expensive and he won. Next was Kisner, 42nd, not very good. Duffner was 3rd, 14th, and neither one of those guys had really good recent form coming into the tournament. So that might be worth noting. It might be worth looking into. Webb came in. So there you go. I mean, a top price guy with decent recent form coming into this tournament, probably worth the play. I don't really see anything that pops out that, you know, we should do. That we should look for or anything like that. But Barracuda, there you go. Miscut. Top 20. Got a couple top 20s here from the Barracuda. So again, like I said, I don't know what to really make of it, but I'm gonna use it when constructing lineups. I'm gonna look at some of these Barracuda, and at least I added it with the last week bucket, so it does have both the WGC finish and Barracuda within the last week bucket. Here we go, 2016. This is the John Deere Classic. Definitely a different look of the leaderboard, and I don't have salaries. I'm not even sure if there were any salaries in 2016 on DraftKings for this tournament. But yeah, only one golfer really with decent recent form. Barracuda was over here. I'm not going to worry about the Barracuda on this one. So we'll skip past 2016 because it's not a really good tell. Definitely a different feel and outlook to that tournament. But here we go. Look at the recent form here. Not good at all. I'm guessing Paul Casey was probably the top of the field. Unfortunately, I don't have a way to tell you who was. Here's Tiger down here. This must have been like his back issues where he was trying to play and get as much, you know, get as many points as possible heading into the playoffs or something along that effect. I mean, we see Brooks up here, but I don't know if Brooks was really known as a golfer that you were really trying to target. Anyways, let's get past 2015, 2014. This will be the last one that we look at. Recent form. Got a couple, well, we got one in the 20s, one in the 30s, the rest in the 40s, 50s, and some 60s sprinkled in there. Once again, Barracuda, top 10, top 20 really, and then a miscut. But you also have a couple more miscuts, another top 20, pretty close behind. So Barracuda, you know, don't discount it. And then 2013, there was no Barracuda here, but recent form, you know, you still had a bunch of good golfers here with at the top of the recent form. Maybe we should just sort by that just to see what that looks like. You know, you got a couple, you know, those are good finishes for, you know, the top guys here with the recent form. This doesn't look so great other than the top 20s and the top 10s, even the victory here. So that's a pretty volatile if we're looking at recent form. I'm going to go and look in 2014 because I just want to see what that looked like also. Pretty close to what the other one looked like. Of course, a couple miscuts, so that's just like any other golf tournament. You're going to get your heart broken one way or another. I almost want to make the case to never play, like, you know, go too overexposed on a player just so you don't get, you know, crushed by playing the wrong golfer who misses the cut. So, but I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole. Here we go with the best recent form for 2015. Not as many top 20s as the years before, but still had 3 of them up there. You know, especially for those people who believe in recent form over everything. Pretty decent here. Just, you know, those golfers aren't going to be on the optimal lineup, and that's what we're searching for. So I think that's where we're going to go with the recent form and just leave it at that. I'm going to bring up the 2018 DK page. So this was last year's tournament. And if I sort by salary, actually, you know what I want to do is I want to search by first, second, third, fourth. Well, obviously from first to last, and then look at the rest of it here. Course history, you know, it's fluctuating. It fluctuates. Recent form, pretty decent. You know, someone who has bad course history coming in with good recent form. That offset got him a second. That's CT Pan. Brandt and Webb both had great course history and recent form coming into this, as well as Ryan Moore. DA Points had decent course history with terrible recent form, and Furyk had good course history with, you know, meddling recent form. And they both showed up and played well. But this is kind of what I wanted to get into here, is looking at the shots gained stats, because that's what a lot of people are getting themselves a little too much. I don't know. If you've watched this over time, you know that I call these swing metrics, which I'm going to start calling them swing stats. I once got in an argument with one of the DFS guys on YouTube doing a live thing, talking about, you know, stats, which I called swing metrics. He just calls stats. I get it, they are stats, but these are stats that are based upon how well you're swinging the golf club or hitting the golf club. Sure, results are also baked into it, but I really just care about results. So course history, recent form, that's where you're going to find results. And I think it's a lot easier to track. I honestly, I hate this so much. The winner was top 5 in, or top X in these 5 stats. Well, no shit. Like, if someone wins the golf tournament, they're going to be the top. They're going to have really good putting stats. They at least average putting stats. They're going to have really good strokes gained, everything else stats. Maybe not around the green, but if you're winning a golf tournament, you're not having to chip much. Not at a decent or an easy, you know, golf course. I'm so sick and tired of hearing about these stats where all of the pros that you guys listen to, they capture stats the week the tournament was played, and then try to reverse engineer that and say, look, like, let's target golfers with that are good within those stats. Whether it's subjectively, like we know that they used to be good at that. So if Brandt Snedeker was, you know, struggling, we go, well, we know he's a straight ball hitter. He usually hits the ball straight. He doesn't hit it very far, so that must mean he's an accuracy guy. I don't know, man. I don't know if it's just poor wording on my part, but really, honestly, do your best to kind of mitigate how you feel about those stats, because it is a snapshot of the week they played. It's not a snapshot of the stats leading up to the tournament. That's what pros should really be providing you guys, is what did Michael Kim look like prior to playing in the John Deere Classic last year and winning it? Were his shots gained metrics or stats good? Or, you know, was he trending upwards where we could figure that out? Of course, a lot of pros are going to tell you it's variance. You know, it's golf. You can't explain everything. I'm going to say it's bullshit, honestly. They're stat nerds. A bunch of guys are stat nerds. They're not golfers. I'm a golfer, as well as a stat nerd. Recent form and course history are all that matter, because it's about confidence. Consistent golfers, those are easy. Like, that's something, a consistent golfer, that's easy to base your predictions on stats, because you can get it over and over and over. But if you put Jordan Spieth at the Masters at any year, he's going to feel comfortable with it. Same with Tiger. You put him at any other golf course that, say, he hasn't played before, he's not going to do the greatest. because a lot of golfers need that comfort level. They do. And what mitigates comfort level? So if you're going to a golf course that you typically haven't done well at, recent form. Because confidence plays a huge factor into it also. Sorry, but your little shots gained metrics, they're not going to matter anything. Point in case. Now, every tournament that goes from here on, I will have this information up because this is when I started it. The only difference, guys, when I started this last year, I actually just captured what their ranking was on the PGA website as opposed to what the ranking is in the field. So if I were to go tee to green, you know, you have one, actually you only have one golfer that makes the optimal lineup in this, and that's Webb. He's the only golfer in tee to green to fit inside the optimal lineup. So if we go to 2018 recent form, what was the optimal lineup? It was Brandt Snedeker, Webb Simpson, CT Pan, Jim Furyk, DA Points, and David Hearn. That was your optimal lineup of 2018. You're not going to see any of those guys up there. You see Webb Simpson. That's it. That's tee to green. So if anyone was like, hey, tee to green matters, sure. Here's CT Pan down here. 26th. Brandt Snedeker down here, 40th out of the in the field. Are we now at a range that we just don't look at this anymore? You know? What was the other one? Approach. I think approach is what a lot of people are touting. Oh, Webb Simpson. That's it. You know, scroll down. CT Pan. I forget, what was that sixth golfer's name again? David Hearn. Okay, so David Hearn's there. CT Pan, David Hearn. So that's 32nd and 33rd. I'm so tired of these swing metrics being what people look at. Even rolling stats. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. David Hearn, proximity. That is actually something I'm looking at this week. Yeah, we can scroll down. Okay, Webb and Brandt. There we go. Of course, if you're going to, have decent ball striking stats like approach, then that's going to matter. Oh, green and reg. There we go. CT Pan, top 5. That's it. That's the only thing on the first page. So I know I'm a bit cynical. It's just one of those things where I just recently had a conversation, had one of those arguments. And I mean, whatever. It's someone else's show. They can make you feel as big or as little as they want to. But I basically was, like, how could you not understand what I'm talking about? I'm talking about stats. Sorry. Anyways. And I get what I do is kind of taboo. But I feel like that has a bit better of an understanding. Like, I'm telling you every week what was the trend going into that tournament. Like, how do we get on a Michael Kim at a John Deere Classic? Well, part of the reason was missing the cut the week before, missing the cut the year before actually mattered at that tournament. There were enough golfers that showed that a golfer like that can finish inside the top 5. Sure, there's going to be a lot of people in that pool, but you had to pick one. Looking at these stats, I don't know, guys. I don't think you're not gonna find the answers that way. Feel free to disagree with me. I actually love criticism, and I love banter. I would not mind having a civil argument or a debate about that. Okay. 30 minutes into the video, we haven't even looked at the field for this week. Let me scroll up to the top here. So I think you got to play Webb. I think he's an automatic play. He's not really that expensive compared to all of the years before. I mean, if you remember, Henrik was 11.5. I think Webb even last year was 11-6. He was 11-6, and he finished second. You needed him. I would say if Webb doesn't finish fourth or better, then it will be a bust, which very well could happen because this is golf. But his recent form coming into this tournament, alongside with his course history, is just dynamite. It's one of those things I don't think you can ignore. I also do like Jordan Spieth, and I think he's worth a play. Hideki, this could be a good week for Hideki. Maybe he gets a victory. But I think what I intend to do with Hideki is play him very, very lightly. Obviously, if Webb's not in the lineup, I will think about playing Hideki, and maybe try to pair him with one of his group members in his Thursday and Friday round. Anyways, don't need to keep you talking about Hideki. I like Jordan Spieth this week, which I've not heard many people talking about. He has the one round here in 2013 where he finished second. Recent form isn't the greatest coming into here, but he actually has some decent Bermuda stats. And what I should do, I want to hide salary. Do I want to hide salary? Let's actually hide this column. And then we'll hide these columns. See if I can get you the Bermuda stats. Yep, you should be able to see it. Okay, perfect. So what I'm going to do is go overall Bermuda here and look at this. We have Matthew Wolff, who's only played in one tournament with Bermuda and has a 24 place finish, which just happened to be last week. Now that I look at it, that's kind of funny. I'll play him in one. Just fear of missing out. I'll play him in one. Otherwise, I'm gonna fade him pretty much completely. But there you go, Webb and Jordan. Those two guys are your top Bermuda golfers. Jordan doesn't have a very good 2019 showing right now. I'm gonna try to bring this in just slightly. Whatever. That's fine. I just want you guys to be able to see the 2019. Actually, there we go. You guys can see it a little bit better. I apologize for you not able to see it completely better, but anyways, Jordan Spieth, 45th place. In one of, well, actually just a 45th average finishing position for 2019, which is not good. Austin Cook, same thing, same deal. Just doesn't have the best clip of finding the top 10. So I don't have Austin Cook, but at $7,100, guys, that's a pretty good value. Like, I think it's decent. Recent form doesn't look the greatest, but decent. Paul Casey is a difficult one for me to think about. Watching him play at, was it the British or was it WGC? I think it was the WGC. He did not look comfortable. He did fight throughout all 4 rounds and still finished decent. But I don't trust it. I mean, he was clinching his back. I just don't know, guys. Hideki, like I said, I'll play a little bit. And now we kind of come into some of these golfers here. Let's go to Snedeker to Johnson. So I'm not sure what to do here because I like Pat Reed for this week. He's $9,700. Billy Horschel's $9,600. That's difficult also. I don't know which one of those I like more. They're probably going to finish well because this tournament just has a history of golfers with high salaries, the favorites to win this tournament. They just play well. So I don't know if you're going to go wrong with any of the top dudes. It's just whether or not they finish inside the top 5 or not. Like, that's where you need them to. I might just make a stand and you know what I'll probably do? I'm probably going to make a bunch of Webb lineups, and I'm going to pair them with some of these 97, 95, 9600 golfers. maybe a 94. Who knows? Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. I really like Hovland. I like Reed. I do like Snedeker. Gosh, there's a lot that are pretty decent. Okay, so we went with overall Bermuda. We look at like how many events people have played in. You know, Brian Stewart, 67 Bermuda events. Really doesn't have the greatest of finishing positions. Harris English, not bad for $6,800. That's pretty on par. So that's not a bad value right there. Brian Harmon, 2019 doesn't look good for him for Bermuda, but maybe he turns around. I just, overall, not the greatest. Billy Horschel, pretty decent. That is a lot of Bermuda events and very, very good finishes. Charles Howell is another one that's not bad. Definitely worth a look. 8,900 kind of stinks. I suppose, we have Russell Henley here, 57 events. Kind of in the, in the middle of the pack type of finishing for Bermuda average finishing positions. So I don't know how I feel about that one. I do like Lucas Glover this week, 8,700. It's just how are we going to fit in a lot of these golfers? Obviously, there's a balanced approach that you could go with Lucas on that team. You also could pair him up with one of the top dudes, top salary guys, which maybe would be beneficial. I'm just kind of looking at prices here. Brian Gain, Michael Thompson, sorry. Maybe worth flyers. Obviously, I've liked Michael Thompson. I think he's a pretty decent Bermuda player. I know there's some buzz about Kyle Stanley, but that's not very good. Like a 48th average finishing position over 51 events. That's not good. 2019, it's 58th. That's not good. 5.88% to finish inside the top 10. That's also not good. Is he good enough to finish inside the top 10? Yeah, he definitely is. I don't like those Bermuda stats, so I'm gonna stay away from it. Okay. So I just wanted to look at overall Bermuda events, see who had the most and what their average finishing position was, as well as their price tag. That's where I think you find decent value. Which you don't really see much of. Top 10 Bermuda stats. We have Jordan leading the list. Next is Webb, then Patrick Reed, and Hideki Barnrat. That's a name. If you've heard of all the storylines out there, a lot of people are trying to talk about certain golfers are on the bubble to make the playoffs. Hideki is one of them. They need to play well in order to get into the playoffs, in order to keep their status on the PGA Tour, to keep their there's a lot of stuff going into play, and I think that's decent motivation. I don't think that's something that you guys should anchor your lineups around. So I wouldn't go heavy on Hideki, but that's pretty decent with his Bermuda finishes. Jimmy Walker's just burned me so much. Course history isn't good. Recent form isn't good. His 2019 Bermuda's not good. So although he's got good overall Bermuda, I just don't know, man. If the course history was better, then I would probably change my tune. Because a guy of his age who has very decent Bermuda stats, has bad course history, and hasn't been playing well on Bermuda this year, I think I gotta stay away from that. Billy Ho, right in the middle there. 25-30% of my lineups will probably have Billy Horschel in them. Paul Casey, same. Hideki Matsuyama. Then we get to KH Lee, who's been just an extremely, just like a super volatile roller coaster. if you don't play him, he's going to do well. If you play him, he's going to just tank. He's going to be awful. So play, take it as you will. One of my favorite golfers here in the 6K range is Luke Donald. He had an injury that really prevented him from playing well. And it sounds like that injury's been alleviated. So if that's the case, Luke Donald can get his wedge game going. He can get his accuracy going. He's worth the play. I would definitely play Luke Donald with confidence. Sung Jae is actually at a price at a weaker field. That's pretty doable if you're gonna make your average lineup, like an $8,000 lineup, or just a bunch of golfers with $8,000. He's definitely worth it, I think. Okay, now we're kind of okay. I always say, of the top 10. Or the percent that someone finishes inside the top 10. If this number is 7 or higher, they're all worthy of playing. As long as there's a number there, that's what you want. What's crazy to see is Ches Reavie at the bottom here. He popped off for a lot of those stats that we were looking at. Same with Corey Connors and Joaquin Niemann. Let me go rephrase that. We weren't really looking at them. But if you're looking at the stats that are going around up there, you would have seen Ches Reavie at least once, I think. And same with Joaquin Niemann. I don't remember exactly where he was on all of that, but you will see his name eventually. Let's see. Maybe like someone, as much as I said nothing good about Brian Stewart, having a 39 finishing position in 2019, not bad. Ches has 34, and Ryan Armour has 36.25. I like both of them. Corey Connors has a pretty decent Bermuda showing. I don't know when golfers make the flip, like when they're terrible on a certain grass surface and then just go, oh, hey, I know how to golf on this, and then just turn it around. Well, I think that's that. 2019 Bermuda, sorry. Kind of going up and down here. Jason Kokrak, I think that 17th is just a lone position. He was injured quite a bit during the beginning of the year, so definitely a word of caution when it comes to Jason Kokrak, but he might be worth the play. And I really can't tell you in full certainty if that's just one tournament or if that's several. Could be several. Rory Sabatini, that looks pretty good. He might be worth the play, and he might be forgotten this week. But there you go. You got Lucas Glover up there. That's pretty decent. I mean, you got a lot of high-priced guys. Denny McCarthy, really the only golfer, and Luke List. Luke List might be worth the play. Hasn't been doing very well this year. I like Ben Ann. Ryan Armour, obviously, I like. So let's look at those stats that I was making fun of not too long ago. So if we were to sort here... let me just go this way because it'd be simpler. And then let's hide this stuff. Okay, so now we have all the shots gained here. Trying to get it over here so you guys can see it just a little bit. There we go. All right, so Hideki leads the tee to green shots gained stat. Followed by Paul Casey, Ben Ann, Corey Connors, Webb Simpson. You're going to see Webb Simpson in a lot of this. You're going to see his name up there quite a bit. He's just a dynamite player. I don't even know. I don't want to go 100% on him. I already told you I wasn't going to. I just don't know if I should or if I shouldn't. It might be worth it. We see Jason Kokrak up there. Mind you, his stats are limited. He still has enough to qualify to be on the PGA leaderboard. So a lot of those stats were from earlier on in this year. Kevin Streelman, not bad. Lucas Glover, again, talked about him. I like him. Joaquin Niemann, Ches Reavie. I'm just kind of naming off some notable names I see. Patrick Reed and Luke List. Those guys are all in your top 20. I think approach was another one that we want to look at, as well as proximity. Hideki Matsuyama, again, Jason Kokrak's up there, and Paul Casey, and Webb Simpson, Corey Connors, Ches Reavie, Lucas Glover, all those guys still up there. Of course, Tee to Green also incorporates approach as well as off the tee and around the green. So, of course, it's in there. Let's see. Green and reg, that's kind of a stat that I think is going to be important. We have Corey Connors up top. Sorry for messing around. You guys can't see what the green and reg is, but there you go. Just want to let you know that that's what we're sorting on right now. Corey Connors leads the way. Charles Howell III's next. A lot of golfers that you probably haven't really heard of. Not that big of a deal. I do like Alex Prue, and I'm going to star his name. Let's see. I can't see my keyboard, so we'll see if we can guess right where the asterisk is. Oh, look at that. There we go. I'm going to do Taylor Gooch as well, because I do like Taylor Gooch. And Josh Teeter's a decent play. Okay. That's enough. And then proximity is the next one. And it's kind of interesting. Corey Connors is not only first in green reg, but he's also first in proximity. You guys can sort of see it. I'm just not going to change it. So you're just going to deal with it. But here you go. Corey Connors, top of your list. Chesson Hadley, Ryan Armour, Jason Duffner, Ches Reavie. You know, he's up there once again. Taylor Gooch, Joaquin Neiman's up there once more. Of course, when you have approach, that's decent. Tee to Green, that's decent. A lot of these names are going to pop up. But yeah, let's see if we can create some lineups. I forgot to actually open up the lineup construction page. Should I do that? Let's zoom in a little bit here. All right, so I'm gonna pull this down so we can just tab through everything. Let's reopen this and go by salary. We obviously know we want to play Webb Simpson, so we're going to throw him right here. That's going to leave us with $7,700 left. That's not a lot, and I kind of wanted to pair him with Victor Hovland. So 7,300, that's not bad. Let's go to that next page and come down to the 7,000s. Now, our rule is you want to play at least 2 last year bucket 1 golfers and 2 last week bucket 1. Well, Victor Hovland is a 1-1, so we kind of covered that. All we need to do is just find one of each and probably focus more on the last week ones than anything. See, I forget who I start. Should we put no, I don't want to put Hideki in there. Ryan Armour is definitely one that I want. I don't know how many 3s we should play. I know we just want at least 1. Yeah, I'm gonna take that back. Actually, it was 3s for last week, so we're good. That's fine. Okay. Luke List I like. Let's throw that up there. So now we have 2 last year bucket 1s. Ryan Armour was the last week bucket 1, and Victor Hovland's the last week bucket 1. So we've got the minimum that we need. One thing I want to do is actually go back to the notes, because I did save. I did save the combinations over here. So we had 2017 to 2014, or well, 2018, I suppose. Can't fit that on there. We probably can. Ooh. We got a space in there that I don't want to override. There you go. Okay. Now you should see everything. Perfect. So, looking at like 1-1s, obviously we've got multiple here, 2017, 2016. We got a bunch of 1-1s. All but last year really was there a 1-1. We can look at all of our 3s. Obviously we're thinking about playing Webb Simpson and Ryan Armour. This kind of says, hey, not every year is there a 3 in the last year bucket finishing inside the top 10. But I feel pretty confident with Webb Simpson. I don't think we have to really worry about that. But a bunch of 1s there. That's our 8 1s that showed up in that one bucket. But 1s are pretty prominent. 2 here in the top 5. Like I said, when we looked at the notes page right away, is that those 1s, you wanted at least 2 last week 1s, because 2 of them were always inside the top 5. So definitely worth looking into and keeping in mind, and we have that. So what else are we looking for? We don't see many 5s and 6s. Obviously they're 5 and 6s for a reason, but it's not to say we don't see at least one of them, either a 5 or a 6. We also don't see many 4s. Gosh, we don't see a lot of 4s. There must have been a tie between 4, 5s, and 6s. But definitely a lot of 4s there. That probably boosts their number up quite a bit. See a lot of 5s. So let's keep that in mind. Don't mind or don't worry about playing, like a Danny Lee or a Peter. Well, definitely worry about playing a Danny Lee. He's just never been that friendly to play. Let's see who else. So we like Taylor Gooch, and this kind of opens us up to having a 2 on the team. And I kind of want to play a 5 just to play a 5. So I have $8,800 left. Is there a 5 up here that we really like? Ooh, Joaquin Neiman's real close. Abraham Answer, Denny McCarthy. We don't have to play a 5. Dang. Yeah, we don't need to play a 5. Don't need to. Definitely want to, though. Play anyone in here. Let's just go with Kokrak. So it's not a bad lineup. It leaves us with $800. And as you can tell, I didn't care about the salary. The salary doesn't matter to me. I'm just really looking for the buckets. And that's why I like doing the buckets. Because you can, just focus on that kind of thing. Okay, so, and really I think Webb was our only, we said we wanted to play at least one of those. I guess if you're not playing Webb, keep that in mind. Maybe don't pair Webb with Pat Reed or Billy Horschel or any of these guys here. I mean, now that we look at this, there's a real high likelihood of somebody in here finishing inside the top 10, just only continuing on the tradition of there being a last week bucket 3 inside the top 10. And that's obvious. Okay, the last week bucket is a top 20 from the year before, or the week before, sorry. Oh boy. All right, so what we didn't do in that last one, and that's my apology, is we didn't look at the Barracuda to see who's missed a cut and who has finished inside the top 20. So let's go ahead and do that. See if we find anyone that we've already been talking about. Oh, that's no good. Let's see. Again, I don't have. Can't see my keyboard, but there we go. Josh Teeter's one. Russell Henley's another. That's interesting. Super interesting. Peter Uline, I had talked about him before with them missing the cut, only to find out that really didn't mean anything. Anyone that have a Martin Laird with decent recent form? Bronson Burgoon, that's actually a good play. I like Bronson. We're going with Bronson. Dang, I didn't see that before. Where's Bronson? Bronson. 6,900, right? Yeah. There he is. He is a 3. Ooh. Okay, well let's create a lineup like that. So I mean, we're kind of anchoring this lineup right now around Bronson Burgoon because he's our first. He was the guy that we chose, the first one to look at. So because he is a 3, we're gonna avoid the 3 for the last week. We'll pair him with Hideki. Could be a mistake, might not be. Could be, you know, your winning lineup. I am gonna stay away from 3s from now on though. So I'm gonna get rid of the 3. So what do we have? 8,000 left over. Okay. Well, Lucas Glover seems decent. So does Ben An. Do we want Ben An? No. One other thing we want to do is look at the last week and find. Oh. Huh. I just realized last week is top 20. And we want a top 20 from that tournament. Oh, we got one. I'm sorry. I'm such a dunce. What the heck? Stupid. So, okay. We did. Bronson Burgoon. That was our 3. Got it. Got it. Okay. So now a missed cut. Who do we like down here? Who has missed the cut? Man. A lot of golfers. Super cheap. Hank Leviota. I like that. Alex Prue. I also like that. I think that's your stars and scrubs lineup is what I'm getting to. Wow. I like Kramer Hickok. I like Cam Davis. These are all golfers that are going to be good. Okay. Andrew Landry played. Did he play the Barracuda for real? Really? That can't be true. He did. Huh. Super interesting. Yeah, Bermuda's not the greatest. Like Kraft. There's our guy Alex Prue, not very good on Bermuda. Hank Lebiota, also not very good on Bermuda. Man, Brandon Harkins? I thought he was a Bermuda golfer. This is tricky. Getting difficult down here. There's nobody. Nobody worth playing. I think it's got to be Lebiota or Harkins, right? We're gonna go with Lebiota. Hank Lebiota. Afternoon tea time. I think he's worth the play. Okay, $8,600. That makes life a little easier. So now we have our miscut at the Barbasol. We have our top 20 at the Barbasol. We could probably do a little more, but we can also leave the risk down a little bit. 8,600 is a little bit of flexibility. Kind of free to choose anyone that we think is gonna be decent. I mean, Sungjae has the best top 10 chance. So 8,900 leaves us pretty decent. Now, we could go with any of these guys to try to get close to that 50,000 mark, but we don't have to. Don't have to. Literally go with Ben-An and be happy with that. That's not a bad lineup. I do like Hank Lebioda, and I like Bronson Burgoon, and then I kind of have, I mean, I wouldn't say studs, but those are 4 decent golfers. All right, so the video is at an hour. I think that's where I'm going to end it. I didn't really create that many lineups, but I'm going to spend the rest of the night now creating those lineups to add before going to bed. I did not do a live stream this week. I kind of said that I was interested in doing so. A buddy of mine wasn't getting off work until 11 tonight, and I had just been extremely busy with everything else. That's why this video is coming out so late on Wednesday night. I really don't anticipate any of you guys watching it before constructing your lineups, but if you did follow all the way to this point, please let me know. You know, tell me who you like, Webb or Hideki. At least that way I know how many people finished all the way to the bottom. But yeah, it's definitely something in the future that I want to do. I guess an update I should give you guys. I'm more likely going to be moving soon. This August is just tournament golf for me, so I don't know. I mean, I really don't do any of this fantasy golf stuff over the weekend anyways, other than just pay attention. Most of my research and stuff comes Monday and Tuesday night, which I know is very inefficient when it comes to getting it out to you guys. Especially when I'm also the one creating all the graphics that go across the screen. So definitely not the most efficient, but now there might be a move to a new city, plus a new job, plus tournament golf. I don't know when I'm gonna have time to do this. I'll try to definitely get one out next week with the Northern Trust. At least there'll be kind of a higher field. And in all reality, I'm going to try to get it out every single week. It takes a lot of time. So if I don't get one out, I'll let you guys know on Twitter. But yeah, hopefully I can get some videos out, because I'd like to keep this kind of for, you know, historical purposes. Looking back to see what I had said, what I spoke about and went over, and see if it'll apply for years to come, you know, years afterwards. So that's my goal. Again, if you don't see a video next week, I apologize in advance. We'll see how everything goes with you know, transitioning. But with that, I'm just gonna go ahead and give you the thank you title. Hope you guys do well. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe if you haven't, and good luck this week. Have fun. All right, see you later.